Hello and welcome, ladies and gentlemen. It's my pleasure to introduce you Mr. Amitabh Chaturvedi, who is the founder and director of SF Hawk. It's an organization which is doing pioneer work in India in Industry 4 implementation. So I'm sure it will be a great pleasure for all of you, and it will be a great value add as well. So we'll be interviewing Mr. Amitabh ji. Amitabh ji, would you like to introduce yourself about how you have reached here and
Sure.
about your background? Yeah.
Sir, first of all, Kare sir, thank you very much for inviting me for today's session. Um, actually, I am a mechanical engineer from NIT Bhopal. I started my career with Bajaj Auto Pune as a manufacturing engineer, working on process improvements, quality improvements on the shop floor, jigs and fixture designing and all that. And then later on, as they say ki IT Kida bit me, and I got into IT industry. I became a ERP implementation consultant. So I worked for 10 years into ERP. And then, as you know, it took me to US. I was there for in US for about 8 years. I came back in 2005 and started this company. The mother company's name is Innova Point Infotech, and we started giving IT services or software development services to the global clients. And then, I have always been trying to work on some new concepts, new technologies. So that has, taken us to the SF Hawk. Now, for last 5 years, I am working on this Industry 4.0 or Industrial IoT product or platform called SF Hawk, which is Smart Factory Hawk. And so that's what is keeping me busy these days.
Okay. Amitabh ji, exactly what does your company do in Industry 4? Because Industry 4 is a blind man's elephant. Elephant has 4 legs, but this has 9 pillars. Now, in which of the pillars your company is working, and what exactly is your role in implementation of Industry 4?
Sure. So as you rightly said, Industry 4.0 is very, very broad. It can be applied in any vertical, in any department or any field or any area rather. So being so wide, in the beginning, we realized that we need to remain focused. So we decided to focus on the automotive machine shops. And the reason was we believe that CNC machines are more modern, their controllers are more modern, they are better organized, their data connectivity is more standardized. So we focused on CNC machine shops, and that's where our first initiative took place. We developed our productivity improvement solution, and since then we have added more and more solutions. So right now, if I say our work focus or our the SF Hawk focus is on the CNC or the automotive machine shops, and then also we have started exploring other opportunities around the foundries or the press shops and those areas. So within the um, the offerings, if I say the SF Hawk offerings are focused around the productivity improvement, quality improvement, and the traceability of parts or processes. So that's where we are, helping our clients becoming more efficient, becoming more, more ready for the incoming, export opportunities, or becoming more ready for the India's aspirations towards the global manufacturing hub. So that's where we are trying to help our clients become more modern machine shops. If I
As you say, since I have been from automotive sector and auto part sector is much matured in manufacturing, in the sense that they know how to improve their own productivity, how to implement automation project, and so forth, how to plan toolings and
yeah.
so on. Whereas once somebody goes to some other sectors, where the customers may not be that much matured. I mean, in many sectors, they are largely traders who are turned into manufacturers recently.
Yeah.
So they look for more of turnkey kind of solutions where, I mean, it is just a plug and play kind of a product which somebody sells them and they start using it from day one. So, any comments on that?
Um, yes, as you rightly hinted or pointed out, see, Industry 4.0 initiatives are definitely not plug and play type of initiatives. Um, they, I have come across multiple places where they tried this approach and they believe that, we have purchased this product, and once you put it, then things will be all right. That's not going to happen that way. So there are a lot of ways to go about planning for industrial IoT or Industry 4.0. But briefly, if I say for now that the expectations from Industry 4.0 should be, um, or my expectations, if I put it this way, that if you are an industry and you are taking this initiative, first of all, it should be driven from top. The top management has to be involved throughout this journey. They should give the vision. They should train their people. That should bring the culture around the shop floor. Is why we are doing it. People should not feel threatened because there are a lot of data which is becoming available, and people or the shop floor people should feel that this is an opportunity. So there is a cultural aspect into it. So a lot of things have to be in place, not only manufacturing knowledge, but knowledge around what processes they should improve, how because a lot of data becomes available, so how to analyze the data. So a lot of things happen, but in short, I'll just keep it that, it's not plug and play type approach.
Okay. Talking of SFOC, of course, it's a platform, but apart from that, what are your other products and services that you
Okay,
present to the market?
sure. So, sir, we have Innova Point as our mother company, which has been in business since 2005, as I mentioned, and we have been offering various software development services or IT services, and that is primarily towards the North American customers. And so we take the projects, we design, develop here, and then deliver. We also take various, individual or very niche services, for example, designing services or testing services or cloud management services and those kind of things. And then we also have the maintenance. We take a lot of projects around maintaining and upgrading the existing application. So normally our services are around corporate application development. So this is the other services and business that we have other than SFOC.
Any projects that you have done which make you feel proud and give you a sense of accomplishment?
Towards in
You would
the
like
Industry
to,
4.0 side?
yeah, in all the sides. I mean, okay,
Sure.
whatever is your experience in India and overseas also,
Mhm.
whatever work you feel that is something that makes
Sure.
you feel proud and
So I'll take one
enthusiastic.
example from the Industry 4.0.
Yeah.
So um, a few years ago, I would say about 2 years ago, we reached out to a company in Kolhapur. So we installed our system on four machines. We monitored it. We trained the operators. We provided the data which was needed. In 2 months' time, which was decided that okay, you have 2 months to prove your system, and we reached out to him, and he was very happy. He said, in 2 months' time, our productivity of this fully automated robotic cell has gone up by 8%. They said, we knew that our cell is being stopped um, time to time, but we didn't have how many times it was stopped, the entire cell, how long it was stopped. So once your system started giving us the data, we knew the pattern, we knew where we are losing, when the raw material is, because it's a raw material is to be fed. And we started standardizing our process. We started asking people to be more disciplined. We consolidated all the reasons why the cell was being stopped. And we asked people that from this time to this time, we are stopping the cell. So everybody should come and do their job. So that's how we started reducing. And in 2 months' time, it was, so that was something which I'm very proud of.
Since you have been working with overseas customers and now also with Indian customers, what are the main differences you feel between the way the overseas market works and the way the Indian market works?
Sure. Um, i- it's um, it's very different, as we all know. Um, Overseas, because I've worked there, I've been working for many years with them. The they have, they feel that technology is a necessity. That's the culture they have developed. Then compared to us, right now the technology penetration or IT penetration in our industry, that penetration is very low. And of course there are reasons, there are a lot of justifications around it. But and it is changing as well. I'm seeing for last 5 years, a lot of things are changing. But I would say that one of the main reasons is the use of technology for improving the process, operations, the ROI, or those things. That is one. Then the user community, the way they use the system, the way they maintain their data, all those, that user community awareness is also varies between I think the North American customers, I would say, are a little bit more matured. They understand why some data is important, why it is to be maintained properly, and all that. I'll also take one example. So take example of RPA, robotic process automation, which is which has become, I would not say very common, but at least in the overseas market, there are a lot of things are happening, a lot of process automation is happening. And I was talking to one of my customers from India, and we are talking about how we can integrate two systems, SF Hawk and the other system, and this topic came. If your system is not integratable, we will use robotic automation to take the data out or whatever. And that made him so interested in what is that. And we talked about a lot of use cases of RPA. And that is the example that RPA overseas is very common. Not, I mean, it is becoming common, but here the awareness itself is missing. Then we threw out a lot of idea. Oh, you can actually eliminate this process which I have by using this technology. That, and the fact is, all the RPA development is happening in India, but it is not reaching to our own customers.
Based on your experience in India, how would you advise an Indian end user to go about doing an Industry 4 implementation project?
Okay. So, sir, based on what I have been interacting with industry leaders and based on our own implementations that we have done, very important. Your question is something which is very close to my heart. And also, when I talk about Industry 4.0, I always link it with ERP, because how ERP journey or how ERP systems have evolved, I have a very strong feeling that Industry 4.0 or industrial IoT will also go some in similar fashion. Not 100%. Things have changed from last 40 years to now, but it gives me, whenever I need some inspiration, I always look at my ERP journey. So to answer your question, I think first of all, whenever any company, any factory, any industry is planning for Industry 4.0, the first thing they should look at is why. Their vision should be very clear. This is what I want to do from this technology. It's not because my neighboring factory has done it, or because my
Everybody is
OEM
doing,
is
so I
pushing,
have to also
everybody is
do.
doing. It should not be that way. It should be very clear vision why I am trying to do this. One. Second, once you have this vision, you need to spread it in your team. I'll give you one very interesting example. Is many years ago we were invited to bid on one project. So the owner had seen some implementation out of India, and he was very impressed. He wanted to do the same thing in here. So he invited. He gave a very clear vision. This is what I want to do. And later on, after a month, sorry, not a month, later on, after 6 months or so, they decided to delay this project. Why? They gave the reasons that my team is not ready for this first. Then the second is they also found that their vision is, way ahead in the future. They don't have a roadmap to reach there. They were just trying to, reach to the end point. So the point I'm trying to make is one is vision. Then the second is, you build this awareness in your team. This is what we want to do, why we want to do it. These are the benefits. This is how it is going to help you. And this is the roadmap. Maybe for roadmap, you bring some consultants or you find a partner who then work with you on your vision and comes up with an implementation methodology or a roadmap, stage wise, phase wise, whatever. And so one is the your team. Now coming to the partner or the product, what product you should go for. There are several products available in the market. So my advice is look for the product who can take you from step 1 2 3 and keep growing along with you. And I take this analogy that if you have you want to put your kid to the school and you have two schools. One is from fifth up to fifth grade and one is up to 12th grade. And it's very hard to switch the school. And the second one, which is up to 12th, is little expensive. So you would prefer to take you somebody with a school or the partner who will take you to fifth grade and then stop, or you would rather invest, you'll take you to longer and keep growing with you. So that's one thing is, when you are trying to find your partner, you should see whether your partner can go along with you, can handhold you when needed, and is in line with your vision or not. Can they customize according to your process? So all those things. So the one, um, yes, and also the last thing is you should be ready to make changes. You shouldn't think that when you put Industry 4.0, you would simply, change your process into electronic processing. It's not like that. You have to change your processes, you have to improve your processes, be ready for changing, eliminating some processes and making changes to some process. It's not that simply just digitize your process in Industry 4.0. And last point is you should not think that you put the Industry 4.0, as we talked about earlier, it's not plug and play. पहले दिन से सब कुछ हो जाएगा भाई, it's not going to happen that way. So your planning should be in place, very thorough, long term, big vision. Your team should be in confidence, your partner should be ready, the product they are offering, the technology they are offering, all those things. I hope I answered your question.
There is one question which often comes from the end user sometimes, that there is a choice of Industry 4 products. On one hand, you have cut and dried proven products from standard big brands. So you buy, you install, and you forget it, that kind of a thing. Something like plug and play, you can say. And on the other hand, there are fly-by-night operators, startups, who will work a long way with you, as you suggested. But then one is not able to see first and then decide to buy. There, you buy first, get started, develop, refine, and go that path. So, which of the two you think suits India?
I definitely think that the second option is the right approach, because first of all, this technology or this area is so new that we haven't standardized or come up with the best practices yet. So everybody, every vendor, every customer, they are, when they implement, they start thinking, okay, now that I have this data, what can I do with it? or the challenges which they face, or the data gives them completely new insight which they had never thought. So I think implementing small, learn, modify, learn, change, modify, keep trying. That approach is the right approach in my opinion. Now, your vendor should be able to support you in that. So if you have a standard product which doesn't matter where it comes from, but if that product is not able to change or customize according to your plan, then it becomes little
No, that
limiting.
product will not change. I mean, in
Yeah,
fact, such products generate a feeling of enslavement sometimes because you have to adapt something which
yeah,
is not naturally coming to you.
yeah.
It is something which is a graft.
Correct. But
So it's
if I
always
take this,
uncomfortable to that extent.
but see, now if you again link it with ERP,
Yes,
if we talk about 30 years ago, I think most industries were in the same boat. Karna hai ki nahi karna hai?
yes,
And then which ERP to implement? Because then ERP was, there's so many players. Some were able to, customize, some were not willing to, or some very expensive to customize. So what happened over that in all these years? First of all, the industry became more consolidated. Now we have, some players who are standard, proven, and when they bring for SAP, take example SAP. When you implement SAP, you have this confidence that I am implementing those services which are globally recognized. So I'm putting something which is going to make my industry or make my processes best practices, or I'm implementing best practices. But that hasn't happened in Industry 4.0 yet.
yes.
So everybody is trying to come up with their process, saying that my process is best, and then customer is trying to evaluate, is this the right process for me, or can you change this process? So it is going to take some time when we develop best practices in Industry 4.0.
Now, the biggest problem that Indian entrepreneurs are stuck with is that where to start this journey of Industry 4, why to start, and how to start. Now, how to start, you have thrown some light, but where to start and why to start is the biggest question mark, which is confronted right in the beginning. Why should I do it,
Yeah,
and where to start?
sure.
So, any tips on that?
Um, I think in any new technology, new field, you are going to find a typical product life cycle. Initially they are going to be innovators, then the early adopters, and then the other guys. So these innovative people or innovators or visionaries, they are driving the industry 4.0 in India at this time, in my opinion. So we're in the very initial phases. The implementations which are happening in India, they are all driven by the visionary people who are curious that if I get this data live, I can do so many things. So those are the people. Now, those people are, they are motivated by themselves. All I wish this technology was there long back. I could have done so much. So now big technology is giving them this power. So they are driving these implementations which we see today. So this is one factor. Is they are, if we talk about pull and push, so they are the pullers. They are pulling the technology, the products, the vendors to do a good job for themselves. Then, so this is one motivation factor, is why they should do it, because this is enabling them to do a lot of things. Then we talk about the push. I have seen a push coming from the international customers. They are pushing our manufacturers or our industry to adopt certain technologies. And traceability is one such example. They are pushing for greater traceability of processes or the products. So what goes in my vehicle, I want to know how it was made, on which machine it was made, and all those other things. So there is a push, and which is bringing a lot of change this, the Y factor of some people going for Industry 4.0. The second push is government policies. So BS6 has certain traceability elements in there. So if you want to produce BS6 parts, you have to have certain. So that is another. And third is Indian OEMs. I'm working with multiple Indian OEMs, and they are there. They are pushing their vendors for start supplying some real-time data in terms of quality or product and all. So these are some other reasons why they should be doing it. But if we summarize everything, I think my way to say why somebody should do it, if see, right now, we as our nation, we are trying to become global manufacturing hub. And in India, I would say it is still, the level playing field for all the manufacturers. So the technology, the industry 4.0 or industrial IoT is going to make or break the things for a lot of people. So if you want to grab the opportunity which is coming on your way in terms of international orders, export orders, you should utilize the technology to become more cost effective, to become more efficient, and to impress the international clients that, I'm ready for your order. I am not, the typical Indian manufacturer who, we have the image of, Jugaadu type image.
Yes, yes.
वो सब नहीं है. I am modern factory now. So that's where the reason is you should think long term कि मुझे क्यों करना है. मुझे इसलिए करना है because I have tremendous opportunity sitting in front of me and I want to grab that opportunity. Before कि another way to look at it is right now, Industry 4.0 is a luxury. It's like a vitamin. ले ली तो ले ली, नहीं भी ली तो कोई problem नहीं. Before it becomes painkiller,
Yes.
तब तो लेना ही पड़ेगा.
Yes.
So reason why we should think about it is before it becomes too late.
So today, do you think it is driven more by push or more by pull in India?
I would say 50-50.
50.
But I would rather work with the pullers because that's where
And
मजा उन्हीं के साथ आता है.
overseas market, what is the difference? Is it more by push or pull?
That's where very different. We don't do Industry 4.0 in overseas as of yet.
Yeah.
But I would say they are more driven by technology. So there would be more pull. That's my guess.
Okay. Now, when one sees the market of Industry 4 companies who are working, now I am saying that Industry 4 activity is being made for India more predominantly, or it is made in India more predominantly.
I wish it was both.
Yeah.
If we are making it for our nation.
Yes.
So, but yes, actually, a lot of players which I have seen in Indian market, they are all Indians.
Yes.
Very proud of that. They are building great products. So we are building solution for ourselves in our country. The solutions which are coming from outside, they are good. But in some cases, the thought process is different, may not always be applicable to our thought process. The price range may be on the little higher end. They are more suitable towards more mature, deep pocket type of companies. So in majority, what I am seeing is we are building solutions for ourselves in India.
But like in IT, we say that we are back-end development office for the rest of the world. Is it so in Industry 4 as well?
Yes, it is definitely there. You talk about a lot of MNC products.
Yes.
They have their back offices here.
Yes.
They are building great products, but those products are more focused for out of India market. So it is there. Okay. It's always been like this. Great products which are available in the global market. We have a lot of contribution from the back end.
According to you, what is the USP of Indian companies who are working in Industry 4?
Okay. As I touched upon that earlier, I think the USP, few things which I talk about. One is the vendors. You mean the vendors, right?
Yeah.
So the vendors who are in Industry 4.0, one is They, again, the same thing. They should have the vision of their product. What is that product going to do? How it is going to help the industry? The long-term product roadmap, long-term vision, that is very important. The second is their technology knowledge. Because what is happening, if I simply talk about, there are three types of vendors or industry 4.0 players in India. One is those who have been doing the industrial automation for period of time. They are now upgrading themselves and they are becoming the industry 4.0 vendors. The second tier or the second set of vendors are the MTBs, the machine tool builders. So they are, bringing technology, developing technology, and they're making their machines industry 4.0 enabled machine. The third vendors are like us, the seasoned IT company. So the difference between them, if you think about the I call it pillars of industry 4.0, what happens normally? Collect the data, transfer the data, store the data, and do the analytics. The industrial IoT, sorry, the industrial automation players, they are very good in collecting the data. That's their strength. But when it comes to the next, they may have to, pull up their arms, learn something, and become more. When it comes to MTBs, they are very strong in their machine, their controllers, or how to get the data. But again, the same thing is the technologies, the cloud, the big data, the analytics, AI, ML, this data security, network, wireless, all of these, they may or may not be their strength. So what I'm trying to say that my way of saying the readiness for the player, one is that you should be very strong in technology because this is a technology driven initiative. The third, very obvious, is your track record. How you have been, how is your support, whether you have 24 by 7 support, or now with this technology it's a remote support. At SF Hawk, 90% of our support is sitting on office and restarting our hardware or restarting the wireless, restarting this or server, and bug fixes and firmware update. Everything happens from office. We don't have to send a physical engineer. It's a mindset change for our customers. They couldn't believe that. आपका कोई आता ही नहीं है यहाँ पे सर वो पूरा चल रहा है ऑफिस में तो एक दिन क्या हुआ that our engineer went and changed some part and the customer said ये क्या था ये क्या आपने चेंज कर दिया सर वो ऑफिस से देख रहे थे वी आर ट्रैकिंग दिस एंड देयर वाज सम इशू विद दिस so that kind of support is proactive support. This is another very important aspect of the USP of the vendor. And of course, the very important aspect is somebody who can, grow with the customer. Start small. We say that you have 100 machines, take 5 machines. Don't take all the modules that we have. We have so many modules. Take productivity monitoring, put it on 5 machines, see, then grow, then grow, then grow. So somebody who can customize for you, somebody who can make it scalable. आज आप छोटा चालू करो, बड़ा करो, make it to bigger department, spread it, horizontally. So that these are few things which are very important, in my opinion, that your partner or the industry 4.0 vendor should do.
To what extent do you feel that our journey of Industry 4 in India is dependent on imports, or are we totally self-sufficient in India to drive this?
You mean in technology and
means hardware, software, whatever, networking, switches, whatever
Sure.
hardware is required. Yeah.
If I talk about our own hardware, because we build our own hardware in our office, we assemble it. Our dependency is there on some imports. There are some hardware which we have to import, but other than 2 or 3 components, we are able to source everything in India. So there is dependency, and of course there are other components which we are sourcing from India. I think they are being imported. So very obviously, as we all know, at least the electronics, we still have dependency on export. Oh, sorry, import. But
in terms of value add, what do you think is our percentage value add? I mean, granted that some imports will be required, but then percentage wise, what is our indigenous value add according to you?
in my opinion, at least I can talk about the hardware that we have.
Yeah.
In our hardware, I would say that we are able to source about 80-85% components from India, and for rest we have to import. So I think that.
Yeah, sure. Now, as far as government is concerned, policies are concerned, what kind of policy support you wish were there so that your kind of companies would have done better or it would have been more conducive for you people?
See, one thing I would say that I have been very happy with so far what government and IMTMA type bodies or ECMA and CII, what they have done. Um, when we started our journey, SF Hawk journey, we were thinking that we have to spend time educating people about this new technology. But we were wrong. When we started approaching people, we found कि यार यार सबको पता है at least what is Industry 4.0. So I was happy that these industrial bodies have done a great job of bringing the awareness. So when it comes to what else can be done, I would say some more maybe push and pull type thing. Something which like BS6, for BS6 you need technologies on your shop floor to be able to do the manufacturing of those. Well, I can take one example for sure. So for last few years, as we all know, the chip shortage, that has very adversely affected the price, the availability of components. So if government is trying to do this, chip domestic chip development, it's going to take some time, but that's a good initiative. I think it's going to help a lot of electronics manufacturers in India. That is one such example.
Talking of startups in India, most startups complain that, I mean, those particularly who are in innovative field, that most of the time they are busy doing free POCs. And the big clients negotiate them very hard. And most of those contracts are unilateral. And there's hardly any motivation or survivability left in those kind of startups. Have you faced such problems?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I can definitely share the view that you have. We did face initially because we needed some initial breakthroughs. So we were more open for POCs or trials and pilots. But from the beginning, we experienced that anything free doesn't hold much value. We tried to do free pilots, we stopped it. Then we started doing paid pilot, just small amount so that there is some kind of commitment from. But now what we have done in last 6 months, in order to satisfy this need of free pilots or so-called free pilots, and also something for us, something beneficial for us, we have come up with subscription model.
Okay.
So we had clients who asked for, ये तो नई टेक्नोलॉजी है भाई, आपको ट्रायल करके दिखाने पड़ेंगे. So we said, sir, fine. You take our subscription for 6 months. If I give you a trial for 15 days, how much you are going to really analyze this? Instead, in a very small amount, you take it on 4-5 machines, you put it for 6 months, you are going to get 6 months data. And the cost is not going to be that. And we started offering, and many people have actually opted for it. So we have stopped free pilots, we have stopped free POCs, and we have replaced them with our subscription model, and it seemed to have actually work in win-win situation.
In Indian market, actually, I mean, in some companies, there are systems that capex is different, revenue expenditures are different. So anything which is bought on one-time payment, their systems are comfortable with that. But anything where they have to have a recurring payment, they find that there are some issues because revenue budget, there are some different kind of restrictions. So have you faced those kind of problems?
I think we are experiencing those.
Yes.
And we are trying to come up with innovative ways to address those. But yes, I would say 60% of our customers are of the capex type. They have preference over the one-time payment, and then don't bother me. I'll give you one-time payment and then be done with it. But then 40% are of, they are more receptive to new ideas of subscription, because then we are trying to tell them that, okay, if you don't see, if you don't have capex, or you don't want to, you rather put it in new machine, then just rent our system. You don't own anything, you don't worry about the hardware, you don't worry about anything. Even we can rent you the server also if you want. Everything is ours. Keep using it. And now we are trying to also trying to make it more easy, so that other concerns which they have in subscription can also be addressed. So it's a mixed bag right now. I see what you're saying about capex, but as you know, at least in IT, various areas, subscription is becoming more of a norm these days in various areas. So I'm hoping that some people will find subscription in manufacturing also more attractive.
Actually, yes, I have been advising this to machine tool industry as well.
Okay.
Because machine tool industry has a nagging complaint that, see, we earn from the machine only on one day, the day we get the check, but the users earn every day from the machine. And as against that, the IT companies normally have some outright payment, but they also have some annual charges. They call it
AMC.
AMC. God knows what AMC is there in software. I mean, in machine tool, I can understand that, but that's one way of having a recurring payment. So, I mean, I wish machine tool industry also should learn from this and have a model where they can sell machines on subscription basis, where they can have recurring payment every year, so that that complaint is taken care of. What do you see is the future of Industry 4 in India? How do you see it growing in years to come, particularly in sectors other than manufacturing also?
So, in order to answer your question, let me first tell you what I think where we are in this journey in India.
Okay.
So, if you take any product cycle, life cycle, it's the beginning, then the innovator users,
Yes.
then we have the early adopters, and
Yes.
then we have the other.
Yes.
So we are in the very beginning. We are early adopter type of stage we are in. So what I believe that the progress has been little slow, and there are various reasons for it, of course. One reason is industry is looking for some good implementation, some good success stories where they can look at it and then relate to it. Ki, if I do this, I'll have this benefit. So I think we are looking for more success stories to come out. One. Then the early adopters who have tried this, they have a lot of lessons they have learned, and they are working on improving how to improve before they go to the next. So they are asking for product changes, they are asking for their own changes in terms of process or training, or they are also looking for some more from the MTBs or from the equipment manufacturer or hardware, where they can, the integration could become easy. So if I just take four entities, let's say, the entity of the users, the industry, then the vendors, then the equipment manufacturers, and then the OEMs. So when it comes to the end users, the industry 4.0, so the end users, the customers or the industry, I think they need to be, they are the way we are going to see that they are going to become more aware, they are going to bring this kind of culture in their organizations once they start to become more familiar with these kind of things. Um, their visions are going to be more clear, their expectations from these technologies more clear. So right now, all these things are happening. Some people have very clear vision, some are still looking up to the leaders and see what can I do. So they are waiting for some more clarity around it. So this is what we are going to see in this area. When it comes to the vendors, I think many products are there, but they are maturing. Products which are available for last few years, they have been implemented, but their limitations or some of their, enhancements, the customers have realized that if I wish, this was there or this was there. So products are becoming more matured. Um, the vendors themselves are becoming more, um, you know, tech technology skilled. They are becoming more mature in terms of various technologies. They are becoming, they have clarity around what is that customer asking for. Earlier, I would think that we are little different. I'll tell you why. But other than that, I think what happened in the past, and this is one reason why it's been little slow, is vendors came with their own way of this is what industry 4.0 and you take it, and people took it. Then they realize the limitations and it's not matching how I actually work, and there is a mismatch and all that thing. So that period didn't make much progress. The way we started, we actually built SFHawk in the factory with our customer, with their day-to-day involvement. And when they saw our product, they actually gave us the first order of 100 machines. So, and now whatever we are building is with the industry. So our first product was built with our first customer and some industry consultants, and now our existing customers are driving the product. So we are trying to avoid giving them something from our side. We are asking, what do you want? So I think this has going to help the industry, because now the products are going to be more focused around what is that you need. So this is one change I'm hoping that we'll see more going forward. When it comes to the machine tool builders or the machine makers or sensor makers and all of that, I think the compatibility, the data integration, the protocols, how to collect data. When it comes to gauges, we connect all sorts of equipment. We connect anything which is there on the shop floor. So and we face our challenges in terms of, one set of equipment have this kind of connectivity, another has this. But anyway, that's fine. But I think slowly, the integration with equipment will start to become more standardized, more normal. So that will help. Finally, the fourth entity is the OEM, or international OEMs or Indian OEMs, all sorts of OEMs. I think they are going to take the driving seat, which is what I'm seeing. Because they have clear vision, they have deep pockets, they have access to international best practices, they have access to consultants, better consultant. I think, and I would be very happy if they kind of drive this in India, and give the vision to tier one, tier two, wherever needed. There are many tier one, tier two, they have their own vision for what is that they want to do with this. But it would be, if they drive, and we are working with some OEMs, and we are finding that they have started, forcing or pushing their vendors to adopt to certain technologies or certain practice, and they are asking for data. So this is another angle which I'm seeing going to happen. And if that happens, and the OEMs take the lead in India for tier one, tier two, I think that would be very welcoming thing for me. So we are going to see things changing, things picking up, because there are a lot of history now, there are a lot of lessons now. I wish last 4 or 5 years whatever time has gone, that we cover in next 2 years and keep moving forward.
Actually, Industry 4, there are different layers of Industry 4. The first layer is where you start with automation of data acquisition. I think presently we in India are at that layer. We have challenges in automating the data acquisition itself. The next level comes is integration of data and data analytics, advanced analytics. And above that, of course, the top floor, the icing on the cake is application of AI/ML. Now, once the application of AI/ML starts happening, then that will change the rules of the game.
Absolutely.
Because the kind of benefits which will accrue, one would not have imagined before.
Very true.
So, how far do you think this advent of AI/ML is you can foresee coming through in India after this phase of data analytics is over? I mean, data acquisition and analytics.
Okay.
Above that, on top of that, do you see any cases where people have started applying AI/ML?
Okay. So, like you just said, data acquisition phase. So, the way we call it, when we go to our customer, we say we'll take all this data and give you the real-time real-time data. We call it mirror.
Yes.
We say, we are going to show you mirror, which is going to tell you really what is happening. Because what you have, you
better
don't believe that.
Yes.
So we are going to show you mirror. That is step number 1, which we have accomplished in our SFHawk. The second is we'll give you the data and let your team analyze it. But we are realizing that not everybody in tier 1, tier 2 has the time and capability to analyze the large amount of data which they are getting.
Yes.
So now we are, realizing that we need to have intelligent analytics engine quickly in place, so that we can remove that struggle. Just by giving data is not going to help.
Yeah.
So that analytics engine is the next, like you just said. I completely agree that analytics engine is next. Then the automating processes. So it's closed loop system.
Yeah.
So right now, most of the implementations are open loop. You take the data and then you decide what to do.
Yes.
We are moving forward. I mean, our vision at SFHawk is that whatever we can do to close loop it would be our vision. So that would be, it's coming. It's not there, and it takes time to build that. But that closed loop system where you take data, analyze it, and take action, and done.
Yeah.
That is the automation side. The final is the top layer of analytics or the AI/ML. I have experienced that some customers are directly jumping to that, and I'm telling whoever I met, I say that you need to first go through this process before you reach the top layer. Don't have this mistake of calling vendors and say, I need to implement this. So at least, fortunately, I have not seen many people. I think that awareness is there, that you need to go gradually, step by step, until you reach here. So I'm happy that that awareness is there. People are not directly jumping to the predictive side of it yet. The matured ones, the OEMs, have started asking, but the majority are not.
Amitabh ji, any challenges you feel that Indians are facing in implementing Industry 4?
Okay. I would take one example from our experience with imports, which is a challenge which we face. So we have been ordering some very critical parts for our hardware from China, and multiple times what we face that the quotation came from, say, for party A, the payment went to party A, but when we got the order delivered to us, all the documentation, invoice, everything was on party B. And now we are struggling with RBI, compliance, that you haven't, some compliance in terms of in outward payment and material receipt. So we are struggling with those kind of things. And we are trying to reach out to China party and unfortunately not getting much help there. We are also trying to take help from FedEx or the UPS people, the couriers, not much help there. So right now, this is one challenge which we are facing as a vendor for Industry 4.0. I wish you asked me earlier, what can government do?
Yes.
This is one such
This
thing.
is one thing.
You know,
As a machine buyer, I have faced something similar.
Okay.
That in China, there are machine tool associations, regional associations.
Yes.
So regional association themselves undertake it upon themselves the task of marketing and even the commercial.
Exactly.
But the order is executed by some other small company.
Yes.
Which is not in picture heretofore, and then suddenly they drop into the picture.
Yeah.
And then that creates all kind of confusion.
I think that's the same
we
thing.
have seen, yeah, I think
some
it's something
quotation came from some
Yes,
association.
yes.
Order went to somebody else.
Order goes to somebody else. Yeah.
This is an opportunity for our own industry. If we can fix this, I mean, we would rather spend our time on working on our product and customer help than working on government policies and all that.
Yes.
So definitely, this is a good opportunity for our own electronics manufacturers to see if they can
come up and do something
Yes.
for you. Yes. Amitabh ji, they say that Industry 4 is all about connecting shop floor to top floor. And top floor, more often than not, means ERP. Now, what's your take on that? How does ERP contribute in this whole journey?
Okay. Very interesting question. I would say being an ERP consultant for more than 10 years in my career, and as I mentioned earlier, that I take this Industry 4.0 journey and try to match it with the ERP journey. And there are a lot of similarities. All these last 30, 40 years, ERP systems have been growing in their coverage. So they started with material planning, they covered finance, purchasing, sales, and everything, but they stopped integrating the shop floor. Why?
Yes.
They stopped because that technology was not there. Now, if you think about it, if I was an ERP software provider, I would think that my natural extension of ERP would be if I can add a module where I show real-time manufacturing, like I show real-time purchasing, I show real-time sales, real-time finance, why not real-time shop floor? So that's what is going to be happening, or that's what I believe, that the natural extension, or I would put it, that's why I believe that Industry 4.0 is nothing but, in a broader scheme of things, it actually a module of ERP system. That's how I think. Whenever I have to take any, inspiration, whenever I'm trying to think on how Industry 4.0 will evolve and all that, I always look at the ERP and think in those ways. So, in my opinion, if you are implementing Industry 4.0, it's very important that you integrate it with your ERP system. Otherwise, two systems working in silos is not going to give you the result. Very important that you integrate these two.
Grand integration, of course, being a pillar of Industry 4. It's a very important pillar where you have to integrate all the software platforms, all the hardware platforms that you have,
Exactly.
all the data that you have anywhere in any form. Thanks, Amitabh ji. Thanks for a very nice, interesting session with us. I'm sure our viewers will get benefited a lot, and many things would be, of course, eye-opener to them as well. Thanks once again.
Thank you very much, sir. Thank you very much for coming here and spending time with me.